So I suppose I should start all of this by saying that Nicole told me not to do this. She told me I could maybe experiment for the sake of the channel, and so I ran with that, but she did tell me not to do this, so I will listen to her better going forward. But Rob and I decided that we were curious about exogenous ketones as a means of potentially upping ketone levels, particularly as it pertains to sports performance. And I realized I don't think I even mentioned what exogenous ketones are, but I just said that I took them, and basically they're just what we took was salts, or like a powder that you mix into a drink that is, you're basically ingesting ketones. So your body doesn't need to produce them. You're just ingesting them to ideally then burn them off as fuel, because when you're in ketosis, that's what you're using as fuel for your brain and your body is ketones. So we had a soccer game tonight. We play on a co-ed soccer team together, and we thought, hey, why not try exogenous ketones before soccer and see what happens? And I'm wearing a continuous ketone monitor. We just put a fresh one on. So we're like, yeah, we'll be able to see exactly how it affects us. So these are the exogenous ketones we use. They're just the salts kind. They have BHPs, MCTs, aminos, L-carnitine. Yeah. And so we mixed it up about an hour before the game and had it on the way to the game. And it was like alarmingly sweet. We were trying to figure out how they make it so sweet without having any carbs or sugar in it. I still don't know. But fine, we drank it, played the game. Game was fine.
You scored 3 goals.
Yeah.
You're an all-star soccer player.
Okay. Rob played well too. And then on the way home, we were like walking to the car, and I was starting to get like down on aspects of the game. And I was feeling negative, I guess. And then on the way home, I was looking out at, I forget what I was looking at the window, a car dealership or something. And I was realizing this doesn't feel right. I actually started wondering if it was like, oh no, I went down on my meds too quickly and I'm starting to experience psychosis again. Like that's what I was thinking on the way home, where things just really didn't feel good. And I was worried that I'm starting to slip into psychosis. It was like a 10 o'clock at night game. We finished at 11 o'clock, got home. It's 11:48 p.m. right now. And so I was kind of like wondering if maybe it's just too late for me. My body has gotten used to going to bed much, much earlier, and it couldn't handle this. But I looked at my continuous ketone monitor, and it said I was at like 1.4, 1.3, which is way, 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 way lower than I ever am ketone wise. And we got home and I took the Keto Mojo test, the blood test, and my ketones were 1.3, which is extremely low for me. And my blood glucose was extremely high, like 127. I forget what the units are, but usually it's well under 100, usually like high 70s, low 80s, maybe sometimes 90s. But so 127 is like extremely high. So those together, my GKI was, I think, 4.7. And I'm wanting it to be under 2. And I've usually felt best low 1s or under 1. So that kind of explains why I'm feeling like, oh my God, my mental health is not in a good place. And I learned my lesson. I'm sorry, Nicole. I learned my lesson. I will not be taking exogenous ketones again. We tested Rob's ketones as well, and his ketone level was 0.6 millimoles per liter. So basically almost not in ketosis at all. So it wasn't just me that it affected like that.
And my glucose was really high too.
Your glucose. How are you feeling mental health wise right now?
I'm okay.
I'm struggling. I was struggling on the way home, and I feel a bit better now knowing that there's a reason I'm struggling. I basically got knocked out of ketosis.
Okay. So I think that you need to put this in perspective in terms of the fact that you've gone down on your medication like 40%. So you probably are a lot more sensitive to, this is the first time you've kind of been knocked out of ketosis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like it. And I don't know, I guess mixed feelings about this experience, like realizing how careful I need to be, but also realizing like how effective this intervention is if I stray from it. Like I think that the exogenous ketones we drank were just way too sweet.
And we should have known too, because we were like, this is...
we were both commenting like, oh my God, this is so sweet. But I guess, yeah, being more careful, but also knowing how effective this intervention is when you adhere to it.
And the importance of adhering to it.
Yeah. We were like kind of talking about perhaps doing a video that's like, what happens when you cheat on medical keto, and like purposefully knocking me out of ketosis, but I am not willing to do that video anymore. Like I just, no.
Oh, yeah, me knew.
Yeah. My brother came over to stay with Teddy while he slept because it's such a late game, but babysitting. And we made him drink some of the exogenous ketones too. And then we finger prick tested him for his ketones and blood glucose. And he read 0.4 millimoles per liter for ketone levels. So it did give him some ketone levels. So it must be effective in that regard. But yeah, the sugar factor or the sweet factor just didn't do anything good for me. So wondering about other types, like I've seen liquid form exogenous ketones, so perhaps looking more into that. But honestly, this experience has just made me kind of just not want to stray from what I'm told to do on medical keto. And yeah.
Best to just let your body produce its own ketones.
Yeah, I think so. Just do what you can to encourage your body to produce its own ketones and yeah, run with that. So I wasn't really planning for this little sit down to be a whole video, and actually this whole thing did not go according to plan. We thought we were just going to do some experimental research tonight with the exogenous ketones and playing soccer, and then we were going to try the exogenous ketones again tomorrow to do a more in-depth video and kind of analysis of what it does to our ketone production levels and if it's worth taking and stuff. But I did not expect it to knock us both out of ketosis. That definitely was a curveball. So thought it would be important to kind of sit down right now, even though it's almost midnight, and just kind of give you an update on that, because I think that's probably important information to know. So I'm not feeling good right now, as I was kind of detailing, and I'm going to get to bed and hopefully get some sleep. I have to go early to my son's soccer game in the morning, but yeah. So I took a spoonful of MCT oil. I just swallowed a spoonful, or a tablespoon, I guess, of MCT oil in the hopes of bolstering ketone production again and getting back to levels of ketosis where I do feel good. So maybe I'll update you in the morning on how quickly I'm able to recover from this. It's the next morning now, and to start off with, in the morning, my ketones were pretty good. I think when I woke up, they were like mid 2s, and then they actually got as high as 4 millimoles per liter while I was out at my son's soccer game. And then getting home, they dropped down to as low as, I think it was 1.8, and now they're sitting at 2.1. So this morning I was feeling pretty good, but now I'm starting to feel a little bit more lethargic again and more like dealing with symptoms a little bit more again. So I think my body is still trying to figure out how to regulate after what happened last night. I think what happened last night felt pretty scary, actually, to realize what is going to happen if I'm not very strict with sticking to the ketogenic diet and metabolic therapies for my mental health. I very immediately started to experience symptoms. I was experiencing perceptual hallucinations, and yeah, it just wasn't good. It felt the way it does in the beginning stages of psychosis, like I mentioned last night. And so, I don't know, yeah, both scary and like a big lesson, I guess, to be learned about that, but also a little encouraging in some respects to know that this diet, following this diet and metabolic therapies and whatnot, is keeping me well and is stopping me from experiencing symptoms like that. So that's kind of big. It was an unfortunate mistake that we made. And it was unfortunate what happened in that I was struggling, and I'm still kind of struggling my way out of it. But it's kind of also nice to know that this intervention is having such a big effect on me in that way. And, just to clarify, we were experimenting with these exogenous ketones, but we did not dream that it was going to go this way. We thought, okay, we can experiment with this and then share what we learn with people on the channel for their own potential benefit as well. If it was going to help with sport performance, or if it was going to increase our ketones, or if it was going to do nothing. We really did not expect it to have the opposite effect and to actually work to my detriment and kick me out of ketosis and be kind of dangerous ultimately. So we learned a lesson from that mistake. I think it's important to understand that you're probably going to make some mistakes along these lines throughout this process, whether it's not strictly sticking to your net carbs, whether it's mistaking your fat intake, whether it's consuming those keto-like products that are more the dirty keto. There's probably going to be mistakes you make along the way. But it's important to learn from them and learn what works best for your own body and brain, and use that information going forward, and to hopefully not repeat your mistakes going forward. I know I will definitely probably never again experiment with exogenous ketones, maybe a different format of them. I don't know. That's not the sweet salts that we ingested that I think were the problem, but I won't be doing that again. So I'm continuing to just stick to what has worked for me thus far, sticking to the keto diet, and I just took a nap trying to get more sleep and rest. I didn't get much sleep last night. So yeah, just working on getting back to a place of stability, and hopefully my mental health will continue to improve. Thanks so much for watching this video, and as always, wishing you and your loved ones good health. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.